Hey guys, so today I'm filming a beginner's guide to makeup on face brushes. My next beginner's guide to makeup video will be on eye brushes. So I have a lot of different brushes to talk about, but by no means do you need all of these. I am just going to have a recommendation of a brush for every category of face makeup just to give you guys some options. I will have all of the brushes listed down below with their price and a direct link, as well as all of my other beginner's guide to makeup videos. So I think brushes are very important. I used to have only a few. Now I have quite a large collection. You definitely don't need this many, but I just love brushes and they can do so much for your makeup. A crappy brush can make your makeup look bad, but a great brush can even make bad makeup look better. So if you are only used to using your fingers or those little sponge tip applicators that come with products, then once you start using brushes, you will be blown away. And good quality does not always need to have an expensive price tag. A lot of the brushes I'm showing you here are from drugstore brands and they are so soft and perform so well. And I'm going to be going over them all for you. I'm going to be recommending certain brands and particular brushes. So I'm just going to jump into it. So the first brushes I want to recommend to you guys are the e.l.f. brushes. They have their Essential line, which is $1. Those face brushes are not good. They are very scratchy. They are not cut very nicely, so I don't recommend those. But I do absolutely recommend these studio brushes, and these cost $3. They are all black. I love these. They perform so well. They have a lot of different brushes to choose from, and the bristles are very, very soft. And sometimes these brushes do shed. Sometimes the ferrule, which is this metal part, comes loose from the handle like this one, but it's not a big deal. Just re-glue it. But they do perform extremely well, and it bothers me when people say that e.l.f. brushes are good for the price. No, e.l.f. brushes are just plain good brushes, which I love, and I don't feel like I need to go buy from Chanel or MAC or Sigma because I love my e.l.f. ones so much. Also, another great drugstore brand that I love would be Real Techniques. They have phenomenal face brushes, and what I love about all Real Techniques brushes is they have these two fibers here, the black fading into the white. So each of their brushes can be used for powder or cream products, which is amazing and just gives them so many more abilities, which I love. If you can use one brush for multiple purposes and multiple types of products, I think that is great, and you are definitely getting more for your money. These are very inexpensive. You can buy them from Ulta, Target, and Walmart. They're the same price at all the stores. If you buy these brushes from Ulta, you can use your $3.50 off $10 coupon because these are considered drugstore. I love these. The quality is so phenomenal. If you don't know, these were created by Samantha Chapman, who is one of the Pixie Woo sisters here on YouTube. They are phenomenal. I absolutely love them. Their brushes also are flat on the bottom so they can stand up. They have individual brushes. They have a face brush set, an eye brush set, and a travel brush set. Some of mine are from sets, some of mine are individual brushes, but I love them all. They're great quality. I also absolutely love Sigma brushes. I think they are great. I don't own a ton of Sigma face brushes. These are the only two I have, but I love them and I couldn't replace them with anything else. They are really, really nice quality brushes, and they have a lot of different styles and cuts to choose from, which I really like. I also have one from the Walmart HD brush line. Again, this is $6 maybe, but it is such a good brush. I've had this for years and years and years, and it's still holding up strong. So starting with foundation, you can use a flat foundation brush. I do not like that. I think it makes foundation look cakey and heavy and streaky. I'm not into that at all. If I'm going to use a brush for my foundation, I love the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. Again, I said these bristles are perfect for any liquid products, and this is so densely packed that it really buffs in your foundation without making it look streaky because the bristles don't really separate. This helps give me even fuller coverage with my foundation. It blends it in without making it look streaky. This is such a phenomenal product. And another great brush or product for foundation would be a makeup sponge. This is the Real Techniques Complexion Sponge, and the Beauty Blender also is a really, really great product. I've owned both of them. I love them both. I love the Real Techniques. It has this flat side that is really great for pressing foundation onto the skin. This is really, really great if you have a foundation that is extra heavy or cakey looking. The Kat Von D foundation is a perfect example, and that will help sheer it out and make it melt into your skin a little bit more and look a little bit more natural, which I like using this for very full coverage foundations. But if I have something light or medium, I like to use this brush to really help give more coverage. And if you could use a duo fiber brush, this is the e.l.f. small stipple brush, but this will give lighter coverage than either of these two products. So it really depends on what you're looking for coverage wise. But this e.l.f. small stipple brush is also great for a cream blush, to blend in concealer. Any cream products, this e.l.f. small stipple brush is perfect for. So for my concealer, I like to use the Real Techniques sponge. I like to also use a flat side to get under my eyes, and I like to use a pointed side to really blend out my blemish concealer. It works so well. But if you find a sponge can tend to sheer out the coverage, I really recommend this e.l.f. Flawless Concealer Brush. It's nice and fluffy, but it still has some density to it, so it really blends in concealer really well without streaking it and giving it nice coverage. So this is a really great one. So now moving on to powder brushes, I have some that I recommend for the under eye and some specifically for the face. So for the under eye, I have two different options here depending on what you like. First, I have the Real Techniques setting brush, and then I have the e.l.f. blush brush. And e.l.f. also has a small tapered brush, which is similar to this, except it's not flat. It's more full and round with a tapered point. So that would be another great one as well. The Real Techniques is a lot smaller, so if you want to be more precise, this is great, especially for getting up in that inner corner. And this is what I used to use, but now I use the e.l.f. blush brush because I think it just kind of helps the job get done quicker, and it really helps cover a larger area, but it still just remains in the under eye. So either of these are really great for setting the under eye, just depends on your preference. And then for powder brushes for the face, I have got three, and it really does depend on what you like. First, I have the e.l.f. powder brush, which has been my favorite forever. This will help if you want powder to give you coverage. If you want coverage, a flat top brush like this is ideal, and just pressing it into the skin. Also, if you're using a powder foundation, a brush like this is perfect as well. Now I have the e.l.f. Complexion Brush, which as you can see is much fluffier, and this is great for just patting on powder. If you are just looking for it to set your makeup and not to give coverage, then this is a really nice brush. I also like this one for adding touch-up powder throughout the day. I think the shape is really nice, so I love that. And another powder brush is from Real Techniques, and this is their powder brush. I actually used it today, and this obviously covers a larger area, so this is also going to be great for setting powder. This is not going to be good for a powder foundation because it's just too large, but like I said, I used it today to set my face powder, and it will just get the job done quick, and it's not going to make you look cakey or give you a lot of coverage. So now moving on to bronzer brushes, I have a few. So first again is the Real Techniques powder brush. I used to use this for bronzer, and you could, but this can be a bit overwhelming for bronzer because it's so big. If you want a light layer all over your face, then this brush would be great. But if you want something more precise, then this brush may be too big. Another one from Real Techniques is their blush brush. For me, this is too big for blush, but I love it for bronzer because it has this nice tapered tip, so it really gets in my cheekbones, and it's easy for me to bring up around my hairline and down my jaw, and it covers the perfect amount of area, so I love this one for bronzer. Another great one is the e.l.f. stippling brush. I like to use this if I want a light wash of bronzer. As a fair skinned person, bronzer can look very overwhelming on my skin, so using a stippling brush like this applies a light amount of product because it is duo fiber. So I again just hit the cheekbones, hairline, and jaw, and like I said, this applies a lighter amount than this, but both of these are so great. It kind of depends on the bronzer that I'm using or the look that I'm going for. More color, the Real Techniques; less color, the e.l.f. stippling brush because it is duo fiber. So now moving on to blush brushes. I have two here, but there is also a third one which I would really recommend. And the first one here is an angled blush brush. This is the one from Walmart. I used it today. I prefer to apply blush on the backs of my cheeks, so this angle is great for getting right up on that area. So I love this one. I would recommend it for the backs of your cheeks, not necessarily for the apples. But if you would like to apply a blush on your apples, a blush brush would be great. I will have a link to one down below from Sigma. That would be perfect. I actually don't own one, but it is just a nice round but not too stiff blush brush to apply right on your apples. That's a great one. And then one of my favorite blush brushes is the Sigma Duo Fiber Powder Blush F15. Why I like this is because it is tapered, but because it is duo fiber, this applies a light amount of blush. I have a couple blushes, especially from MAC, that are way too pigmented for me to use a brush like this. I would look like a crazy person, but this brush picks up the perfect light amount to apply to my cheeks. So I recommend this if you have a blush or bronzer product that is way too pigmented. This will apply just the right amount of color. So now moving on to contour brushes. I have three and they are all kind of more precise than the bronzer brush which I showed before. So here they are. So first one I have is the Sigma Small Contour F05. Again, this is going to apply a really deeply pigmented color because of the natural bristles, and this is a nice size, not too big, not too small, perfect for getting in under that cheekbone. I also have the Real Techniques contour brush, which is more tapered and a little bit smaller, but this one is also perfect for getting in that area, and this brush can be used for cream or powder bronzers. So both of these I love, and it kind of just depends what product that I'm using. Another contour brush, this is actually from my Benefit Hoola bronzer, but the NARS Ita brush is really popular right now, and it has this blunt cut to it, but it is still soft and you can still blend it, but basically you get right in your cheekbone like this, and then you're going to kind of flick it up. I use this brush today. This is going to give you a much more harsh look than these brushes because these are going to blend better than this. But if you're wanting a more defined cheekbone, then this brush would be great for that, or like I said, the NARS Ita brush. So lastly, I'm going to talk about brushes for highlighting. So I have the same brushes that I showed for my under eyes. So I have the Real Techniques setting brush and the e.l.f. blush brush. I used to use the e.l.f. blush brush, but I don't have that much cheekbone area because it very quickly comes into my under eye. So I like to use the Real Techniques because it is much smaller and it's much more precise for my highlight. But if you do have a larger cheek area, then the e.l.f. brush would be great. But as you can see, the size comparison, this is just more precise than the e.l.f., but both perform great and pick up the right amount of product for a highlighter. So guys, that was my beginner's guide to makeup brush video. Let me know your favorite brushes in a comment down below which ones I should check out. I hope this was helpful for you. Stay tuned for my eye brushes video, which will be coming up next. Thank you so much for watching. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys.